Well, I think it's fair to say that the meeting was not just cordial in the diplomatic sense of cordial. I think it's also important to say that the meeting was friendly, that the relationship, I think, has gone off on a very good footing. I'd spoken to Susana on a number of occasions before. I remember vividly congratulating her when she won the presidency of the Junta de Andalucia, and therefore it was a good opportunity to get that relationship now going in the context of Brexit to deliver positive workflows for citizens generally, in particular for Gibraltarian citizens, for Gibraltar citizens, and for, in the context of the Junta de Andalucia is concerned, citizens of the Campo de Gibraltar generally and workers in particular.
Are further meetings planned?
Yes, further meetings will now happen, not necessarily between myself and the president of the junta, although I think there may be other such meetings, but there will be other meetings, I think, between officials and between other political representatives who will have responsibility, specific ministerial responsibility for some of the issues that we'll need to work on next.
So could this lead to the setting up of working groups between Andalusia and Gibraltar?
Well, I think it could. I think it could lead to the setting up of those working groups, but let's be very clear about what the constitutional competences of Andalusia are and how those dovetail to Gibraltar's constitutional competences, and that's where we'll be able to do work in the context of this particular strand of the work that the Deputy Chief Minister and I do on Brexit.
The Vice President greatly emphasised what he calls Susana Diaz's loyalty to the central Spanish government and to protecting the interests of Spain as well as the interests of Andalusia. Yet there was no mention of sovereignty, which has formed a big part of the Spanish government's reaction to Brexit.
No, you wouldn't expect there to be mention of sovereignty in any meeting with me because the response is going to be the obvious one. Neither do I think that Susana Diaz is interested in pursuing that issue as a Spaniard, as a president of the Junta de Andalucia, or in any other way. But of course, her position has to be in the context of the hierarchy in which she operates, that those issues for which Madrid has constitutional competence are a matter for Madrid, and she has rightly and properly respected the boundaries between what are the national competences of the government in Madrid and what are the regional competences of her government here in Andalusia. We came to engage with her on those regional competences that she has, which are also very important to us. Gibraltar has the full panoply of competences under the Constitution, except in relation to external relations and defence, although in the context of Brexit, Section 47(3) of the Constitution does create competences for Gibraltar in all matters which arise from the European Union.
It's been emphasised that Susana Diaz is in communication with the Spanish Foreign Minister and will relay to him the results of today's meeting. Will Gibraltar also be informing the UK about the things discussed today, for example, potential mitigation of Brexit towards its negotiations?
Well, let's be very clear. The relationship between the government of Gibraltar and the government of the United Kingdom is different to the relationship between the Junta de Andalucia and the government in Madrid. The Junta de Andalucia is part of the Spanish state. It is an emanation of the same constitution that gives rise to the government there is in Madrid, and they have a method of reporting back and forth between themselves, which is absolutely appropriate and proper in the context of one hierarchy. The government of Gibraltar is not the government of the United Kingdom, but we work very closely together, especially in matters that relate to Brexit, and in the same way as Ms. Diaz has kept informed those who are relevant in Madrid through the mechanisms that they have as one Spain, we have kept fully informed those of our colleagues in the United Kingdom who are relevant to the negotiations and discussions which relate to Brexit about every step that we're taking and when we're taking it and why we think it fits into the hierarchy, the architecture of these discussions and negotiations for us to leave the European Union with the United Kingdom.
There's been a great deal of emphasis on the rights of cross-border workers, especially as regards their passage across the frontier. Do you feel there's a reciprocal interest in protecting the rights of Gibraltar residents to avoid a two-tier system?
This is the point that I've been making in the context of every answer I've given today and everything I've said. I talk about citizens and workers, not just about workers. And I think that's understood in the Junta de Andalucia because they too, of course, represent citizens who want to come to Gibraltar for reasons of family links or reasons of simply wanting to visit Gibraltar as tourists, etc., and want to return to Spain. So I think there's a wide understanding of all of the issues that are relevant and how they can affect workers and citizens alike, and how we need to ensure that there is no two-tier system. We need to understand what the relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union is going to be in the future, so that we can find the right avenues for Gibraltarians and those who want to come in and out of Gibraltar in the future to be able to do so in a way that doesn't cause anyone to have to be further delayed than they need to be for our common mutual security.
Have you found that interest, that aim reciprocated on the Junta side?
I must tell you, I have found reciprocity in the understanding of the issues. I have found an accent from them absolutely understandably, also in particular of workers. They were very pleased to hear that I was able to give them updated figures on the numbers that they have now, the numbers at the close of play last week. That's 13,251 cross-frontier workers, of which 8,167 are Spanish nationals. That is a not inconsiderable figure by any measure. The meeting today was not just the meeting between the Chief Minister of Gibraltar and the President of the Junta de Andalucia. The meeting today was a meeting between the two largest employers in the region of Andalusia.
Finally, it's the first time a Chief Minister of Gibraltar has been hosted at the seat of the Junta de Andalucia by its President. What significance can be attached to this?
Well, I think it's hugely significant. I think it's a demonstration of the thaw in relations that has come finally after the departure of Senor Margallo. And if I may say so, I think it is worth highlighting that I think it is a valediction of the position that the government of Gibraltar has been taking, a vindication of the position that we have been taking throughout the period that I've been in office. People have understood that when we were tough on Spain, we were defending Gibraltar against the onslaught that Senor Margallo was leading unnecessarily against all our common interests, but that when we are dealt with properly and appropriately and reasonably, we respond properly, appropriately and reasonably.